Hello, sir. My name is Brianna Villanueva, the presenter of Group Antarctica in Global Culture. So, the contents of Antarctica is the introduction, geographical pictures, tourist destination, products, and climate change. So, in this slide introduction, Antarctica is the fifth largest continent, being nearly twice the size of Australia and larger than Europe, and has an area of 14,200,000 kilometer. Antarctica is the coldest, windiest, and least populated of the world's continents. It has a unique landscape, distinctive ecosystem, and is one of the world's true wildernesses. It is also home to cutting-edge science, unprecedented international collaboration, and growing numbers of tourists. Antarctica is a continent surrounded by an ocean which freezes the sea ice. Here in geographical picture, Antarctica is the only continent with no permanent human habitation. There are, however, permanent human settlements where scientists and support staff live for part of the year on a rotating basis. The continent of Antarctica makes up most of the Antarctic region. The Antarctic is a cold, remote area in the southern hemisphere encompassed by the Antarctic Convergence. The Antarctic Convergence is an uneven line of latitude where cold, northward flowing Antarctic waters meet the warmer waters of the world's oceans. The Antarctic covers approximately 20% of southern hemisphere. In tourist destination in Antarctica, we have South Shetland Island, Antarctic Peninsula, Falkland Island, Lemire Channel, Ross Sea, Ice Shelf, Dark Passage, South Georgia, Port Lockerai. So, the first one is South Shetland Island. The island have been claimed by the United Kingdom since 1908 and as part of the British Antarctic Territory since 1962. They are also claimed by the governments of Chile since 1940 as part of the Antarctica Chilena province, and Argentina since 1943 as part of the Argentine Antarctica Tierra del Fuego province. Next is the Antarctic Peninsula. The marine ecosystem around the western continental shelf of the Antarctic Peninsula, or WAP, has been subjected to rapid climate change over the past 50 years. The warm, moist, maritime climate of the northern WAP has shifted south. This climatic change is increasingly displaced the once dominated cold, dry continental Antarctic climate. This regional warming has caused multi-level responses in the marine ecosystem, such as increased heat transport, decreased sea ice extent and duration, local declines in ice-dependent Adelie penguins, increase in ice-tolerant Gentoo and chinstrap penguins, alterations in phytoplankton and zooplankton community composition, as well as changes in krill recruitment, abundance, and availability to predators. Next is Falkland Island. Controversy exists over the Falklands discovery and subsequent colonization by Europeans at various times. The islands have had French, British, Spanish, and Argentine settlements. Britain reasserted its rule in 1933, but Argentina maintains its claim to the islands. In April 1982, Argentine military forces invaded the islands. British administration was restored 2 months later at the end of the Falklands War. In a 2013 sovereignty referendum, almost all Falklands voted in favor of the archipelago remaining a UK overseas territory. The territory's sovereignty status is part of an ongoing dispute between Argentina and United Kingdom. The population is 3,662 inhabitants in 2021, consists primarily of native-born Falkland Islanders. The majority of British descent, other than ethnicities, include French, Gibraltarians, and Scandinavian. The island lie on the boundary of the subantarctic, oceanic, and tundra climate zones, and both major islands have mountain ranges reaching 2,300 feet or 700 meters. They are home to large bird populations, although many no longer breed in the main islands due to the predation by introduced species. Major economic activities include fishing, tourism, and sheep farming, with an emphasis in high-quality wool exports. All exploration, licensed by the Falkland Islands government, remains controversial as a result of marine disputes with Argentina. Next is Lemairy Channel. It was first seen by the German expedition of 1873-74, but not traversed until December 1898, when the Belgica of Belgian Antarctic expedition passed through. Expedition leader Adrien de Gerlache named it for Charles Lemairy, 1963 to 1925, a Belgian explorer of the Congo. The Channel has since become a standard part of the itinerary for cruising in Antarctica. Not only is it scenic, but the protected waters are usually as still as a lake, a rare occurrence in the storm-racked southern seas, and the north-south traverse delivers vessels close to Petermann Island for landings. The principal difficulty is the icebergs may fail to the channel, especially in early season, obliging a ship to backtrack and go around the outside of both islands to reach Petermann. Next is Ross Sea or Ice Shelf. Most of Ross Ice Shelf is in the Ross Dependency claimed by the New Zealand. It floats in and covers a large southern portion of the Ross Sea and the entire Roosevelt Island located in the east of the Ross Sea. The ice shelf is named after Sir James Clark Ross, who discovered it on 28 January 1841. It was originally called the Barrier, with various adjectives including Great Ice Barrier, as it prevented sailing farther south. Ross mapped the ice forced front eastward to 160° watts. In 1947, the U.S. Board on the Geographic Names applied the name Ross Shelf Ice to this feature and published it in the original U.S. Antarctic Gazetteer. In January 1953, the name was changed to Ross Ice Shelf. That name was published in 1956. Next is Dark Passage. The Dark Passage is considered one of the most treacherous voyages for ships to make. Currents at its latitude meet no resistance from any landmass and waves top 40 feet or 12 meters, hence its reputation as the most powerful convergence of seas. As the Dark Passage is the narrowest passage around Antarctica, its existence and shape strongly influence the circulation of water around Antarctica and the global oceanic circulation, as well as the global climate. The Bathymetry of the dark passage plays an important role in the global mixing of oceanic water. It is one of the most treacherous bodies of water on Earth. Next is South Georgia. South Georgia's nearest neighbor is the Falkland Islands, yet those are still 800 miles away. South Georgia Island is among the world's most isolated locales, as it's only accessible by cruise ships, with no air trip or runway. That means it takes at least 2 days at sea to get to South Georgia. The South Georgia Falklands map above is a good visual example of typical sailing route. The next one is Port Lacroix. The bay was discovered in 1904 and named after Edward Lacroix, a French politician and vice president of the Chamber of Deputies, who assisted Jean-Baptiste Charcot in obtaining government funding for his French Antarctic. The harbor was used for whaling between 1911 and 1931. During World War II, the British military operations submarine established the Port Lacroix Station A on tiny Goudier Island in the bay, which continued to operate as a British research station until January 16, 1962. It is one of the most popular tourist destinations for cruise ship passengers in Antarctica. Proceeds from the small souvenir shop fund the maintenance of the site and other historic sites and monuments in Antarctica. The Trust collects data for the British Antarctic Survey to observe the effect of tourism on penguins. Half the island is open to tourists, while the other half is reserved for penguins. A staff of 4 typically process 70,000 pieces of mail sent by 18,000 visitors that arrive during the 5-month Antarctic cruise season. A souvenir passport stamp is also offered to visitors. Next slide is products in Antarctica. Some of the most northerly areas of Antarctica are known to be rich in minerals including antimony, chromium, copper, gold, lead, molybdenum, tin, uranium, and zinc, according to the U.S. National Snow and Ice Service, or USNS. Antimony is a lustrous gray metalloid. It is found in the nature mainly as the sulfide minerals stibnite. Antimony compounds have been known since ancient times and were powdered for use as medicine and cosmetics, often known by the Arabic name Kol. Chromium is a chemical element with a symbol Cr and atomic number 24. It is the first element in group 6 and is steely gray, lustrous, hard, and brittle transition metal. Chromium metal is valued for its high corrosion resistance and hardness. Copper is soft, malleable, ductile metal with very high thermal and electrical conductivity. A freshly exposed surface of pure copper has a pinkish-orange color. Gold is a chemical element with the symbol Au and atomic number 79. It is a bright, slightly orange-yellow, dense, soft, malleable, and ductile metal in a pure form. Chemically, gold is a transition metal and a group 11 element. Lead is a heavy metal that is denser than most common materials. It is soft and malleable and has a relatively low melting point. When freshly cut, lead is silvery with a hint of blue. It tarnishes to a dull gray color when exposed to air. Molybdenum is a chemical element with a symbol of Mo, and atomic number 42, which is located in period 5 and group 6. The name is from Neo-Latin molybdenum, which is based on ancient Greek molybdus. Uranium is a chemical element with the symbol U and atomic number 92. It is a silvery gray metal in the actinide series of the periodic table. A uranium atom has 92 protons and 92 electrons, of which 6 are valence electrons. Zinc is a chemical element with the symbol Zn and atomic number 30. It is the first element in group 12 of the periodic table. Zinc is a slightly brittle metal at a room temperature and has a silvery gray appearance when oxidation is removed, according to the U.S. Naval Institute in Hawaii. The most popular food in Antarctica is seafood, in particular shellfish, since nearly all of the local population lives near the shores, and the continent itself is filled with streams, lakes, and rivers throughout. The seafood you'll be consuming will be extremely fresh. Next are the challenges faced in tourism. The biggest challenges Antarctica faces includes climate change, exploitation of resources, and damage to the ozone layer. Climate change. Climate change is affecting Antarctica. Parts of the continent are experiencing the greatest increases in temperature on the planet, leading to the melting of ice and loss of habitat for species like penguins. Some estimates suggest that sea levels have risen by around 3 millimeters per year since the 1990s. Resources. Antarctica has many resources. As no single country owns Antarctica, access to these resources could cause conflict. Minerals such as copper and gold, fossils, fuels, and fish stocks are all valuable resources that could be exploited. The landscape is also a resource, and so increasing numbers of tourists are visiting Antarctica. Ozone layer. Ozone is a gas found high above the Earth. The ozone layer protects the planet from harmful ultraviolet or UV radiation from the sun. In the 1970s, scientists found that ozone was being destroyed and that holes existed above the Arctic and Antarctic. Chlorofluorocarbons or CFCs were found to cause this damage. CFCs are now banned and levels of ozone are recovering. That will be all, sir. Thank you.